Welcome to our Getting Started series of tutorials. In this short video, I will be demonstrating the various tools and commands available on the toolbar at the top of the editor. Some of what I'm going to cover may be familiar to existing users of our products. However, there are a few things that are different that are important to understand. Hopefully, you may also discover a few new or alternative ways of doing things. Let's go ahead and get started. In the upper left-hand corner, you will find the common tools that you would likely find in any application. Undo, redo, cut, copy, and paste. I will not be demonstrating these functions as they are probably very familiar to most people. Next, I will demonstrate the remaining tools at the top left that are always available regardless of what tab you are on. The red X-shaped icon is the Delete Shape tool. As you would expect, clicking upon it will remove any shape currently selected in the editor. You can also delete shapes simply by pressing the Delete key on your keyboard, if you're using a device that has one. The Group Select tool allows you to draw a rectangular selection around an area of the diagram. Everything within the boundaries of the drawn rectangle will be selected. Then you can modify, move, or delete the shapes at the same time. The Zoom to Fit tool zooms the diagram in or out so that the contents fill the entire diagramming area in the most limiting direction. When the application is first started, the Home tab is selected by default. The Zoom In and Zoom Out buttons don't need much explanation, but the Zoom to Rectangular Area tool may. Once you've clicked on the tool, you will be able to draw an area on the diagram that you wish to zoom to. This allows you to zoom in on particular areas with a great deal of precision. If there is any text on your diagram, the Text Increase and Text Decrease tools will be enabled. This will allow you to increase or decrease the size of every element of text on the diagram collectively. Next is the Grid button. This toggles the grid in our drawing tools. The grid is useful for placing objects in your diagram more precisely using real-world measurements. The scale of the grid will vary depending upon the zoom level you are currently at. The last button on the Home tab is the Help button. Here you'll find various options, such as the tip sheet and various tools that may be useful for troubleshooting problems if they do occur. The next tab on the toolbar is the Draw tab. Here you'll find tools that you can use to draw various shapes and objects you might need in your diagrams. The first tool is the Street tool. Using this tool, you can draw a street on the drawing surface. Simply click on the tool and draw a street where you would like it to appear. You may find this more convenient than dragging a street from the symbol manager and then manually positioning it where you want. After the street has been added to the diagram, it can be manipulated just like any other street. Using this tool, you can also draw streets on the symbols layer. This technique is most commonly used to create an overpass effect. Simply switch to the symbols layer and then draw a street over the top of another street you have already added to the streets layer. As it's drawn on the symbol layer, it will not automatically create an intersection where it overlaps the street below. Like the Street Drawing tool, crosswalks and parking stalls can be drawn if you prefer that to the corresponding drag and drop tools available in the symbol manager. Simply select the desired tool and draw it where you want it to appear. By default, crosswalks will intelligently snap to streets. The snapping behavior can also be disabled in the Properties pane. Next is the Stripe tool. This allows you to draw a street stripe that is independent of any street segments that may exist on the diagram. This may be useful to fine-tune the diagram to look the way you would like it to. It can be used to fill in gaps or for creating elements that are outside of the norm. Once added, these street stripes may be manipulated or styled just like any other street stripe. The next tool is the Stripe Eraser. As the name suggests, it allows you to remove segments of street stripes with precision. It is also a convenient way to split stripes into individual segments that can be manipulated and styled independently. The Structure tool allows you to draw the outline of a structure quickly and easily. Click the Structure tool and begin drawing walls. Convenient guides appear when two wall endpoints line up with one another. The draw operation will terminate when the structure is closed. A red circle will appear when the wall you are drawing intersects with the beginning of the first wall. If you don't want to close the structure, you can end the drawing operation by double-clicking. A right-click will also end the drawing operation, discarding the current wall segment. Next is the Stairs Drawing tool, which does pretty much what you'd expect. The Countertop tool lets you draw countertops that are more complex than the countertops available in the Symbol Manager. Click the tool and then start drawing your counter segments. A right-click or a double-click will end the drawing operation. And then there is the Text Box tool. I will just demonstrate this tool briefly, as we have a whole video devoted to the various ways of adding text to the diagram. I encourage you to watch that as well if you haven't already. Simply click on the tool and then draw a box that will contain your text. A callout can easily be added to label or bring attention to elements of the diagram. Simply draw the callout where you wish it to appear, and the property pane will open with the Text tab pre-selected. After you've added your text, you can further refine the callout to appear as you wish. You can make the text bigger or change its color. The Style tab allows you to change the box style and line and arrow characteristics. The Dimension Line tool is useful if you need to convey the size of an element or bring attention to the scale of an accident. Simply draw a dimension line and it will automatically add dimension text. If you need a greater degree of precision than can be accomplished by drawing the dimension line, simply open the Properties pane and adjust it manually. You can use the spinner controls or enter the dimensions by hand. As with all property pane controls that support dimension text, you will use single quotes to denote feet and double quotes to denote inches. Directly after these tools, you will find the Drawing Tools drop-down menu. It looks like a little pencil with a small upside-down rectangle next to it. Clicking upon this icon reveals the various tools that you have at your disposal. Most of the remaining tools for creating basic shapes should speak for themselves. I won't risk boring you by demonstrating each one, but I'm going to demonstrate how to use the connected lines and closed shape tools, as there are a few important things you should know about them. With both of these tools, you simply click on the diagram area where you want each segment of the shape. The only thing that may not be immediately obvious is how to end the drawing operation. You could either double-click or right-click when you wish to end the operation. The main difference between the two tools is that when you end the drawing operation with the closed shape, an additional line is drawn connecting the beginning point with the end point. The next item is the Image Import tool. Clicking on the tool opens up a dialog where you can select the image you wish to import. After an image has been imported, it can be resized or rotated much like any other object in the editor. The Manage tab contains tools for managing the current diagram, such as loading an existing diagram and printing it. The last item on the toolbar is the Erase and Start Over button. The name pretty much says it all. Keep in mind that we do not ask for a confirmation when you select this tool, so only use it if you really want everything gone. Another good thing to know is that this is an undoable action, so if you click it by mistake or change your mind, you can get your diagram back by clicking on the Undo button. Depending on the features you have enabled, you may or may not see a Map tab. We will not be discussing mapping here, as there is another tutorial entirely dedicated to it. The last tab we have to talk about is the Shape tab. The Properties button opens the Properties pane. Do keep in mind that using the Action button or double-clicking on any object will also open the property pane and is often a more efficient way of accomplishing this. Next is the Select All button. Clicking on this button selects all of the objects on the currently active layer. The Arrange drop-down button provides various tools for arranging and grouping shapes. You can send shapes to the front or the back of other objects. You can flip shapes vertically and horizontally. You can also select multiple objects and group them together into one object. Use Ungroup to separate objects that are grouped together. If multiple objects are selected, you can use the tools available in the Align drop-down button. These tools allow you to align the objects in relation to one another. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video.